Hi there, I'm looking at a Scorpion 2 board from a Cops and Robbers game. Now, you see I've got the wrong type of alpha display there. The Cops and Robbers uses a different display, but I was asked to see if I could get this board running because it doesn't boot. So I'll show you what it's doing just now. It actually does boot up. See? Now, like I said, it's the wrong type of display altogether. You'll see later on what I mean. That's as far as we get. He'll do it again. One more time. See, it's a wee bit messed up as well because, like I said, it's the wrong type of display. And that's it. Now you might think that that's a fault, that that's an error on the board, but it's not. I did a bit of digging and that's exactly the way that board should behave without the correct display. And I managed to duplicate that fault on the MFME emulator and it does exactly the same thing, and I'll show you upstairs. Right, I'll show you what I mean. You see that I've got a standard LED alpha display there. I was experimenting with something. The Cops and Robbers game, it uses a slave ROM and an LED display driver board, which is basically another little MPU board in itself. So, I'll show you something. If I just load up this other version, and what I've done here is I've stopped this LED display working by deleting the slave ROM. Hear it? That's exactly the fault we're getting with the physical board downstairs. So I think this display board is either not working or some of the signals going to it are not correct. So let's see what we can see. Right, so to progress with this, it looks like I'll need to go get the display out of the machine. Right, it's a few days later and I got the board. But the board out of the game, and it is this display board that's causing the bother. You've got no display. And then that's what we get. I've done a bit of checking around and the RAM and ROM are active at the same time. So I'll just show you here. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You see, that's low. And then it's half 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's low as well. Now that's in a illegal condition. You can't have the RAM and ROM active at the same time. They're both active low. You can't have them enabled at the same time. Now I've done a bit of checking and those both come from that custom chip there. So that custom chip there must have a fault. So I'm going to have to either get another display board or another custom chip. I'll tell you something. The community I'm part of here with us collectors lot, they could sometimes do. Nicest people you could ever meet. They couldn't do enough for you. Put a wee message on the forums to ask if anybody has some information on that board or a custom chip, and I got this in the mail. It's another board. So this hopefully will get this back up and running, but more importantly, hopefully this chip isn't encrypted and I can read it in with my programmer. There we go. Quickly swap the board over. So, now, it's squeaky bum time. I'm going to take this chip off of here and see if I can read it in my programmer. Right, so I didn't film this, but I took the chip off, put a socket on and put it back. Right. Ah, there we go. Right, so far so good. I marked that lead as well. What these two leads are, in case you're wondering, that's a busy signal. It takes a strobe line from the direct inputs on the Scorpion 2, whips it around here, and then the slave board here sets a line to send a signal back. It's because, unlike a standard alpha display, this thing's too slow just to be left to its own devices. The Scorpion 2 just can't send a signal out and hope for the best like your standard alpha displays like that one over there do. It has to get an acknowledged signal back so it can move to the next step. That's why these games don't boot without this board, or without this connection. Possibly could bypass it out, I don't know. But now that I've got that on a socket, I can take it out and I can see if I can read the code. And maybe, just maybe, we can get a backup of this code and save that board there. Righty, I've got it in my datum in here. Its actual designation is a 16AS12HB1, but the modern equivalent of it is a GAL 16V8AS HB1, and it read fine. So I've read that in. Now, can I program a new chip? Ooh, getting exciting. And just for a sanity check, it verifies as well, so it's not locked. If it was locked, it would, every time I verified it, it would come back with different values. But no, it's coming back with the same values all the time. So I think I can make a backup of this chip. I don't have a 16V8AS. What I do have is a PAL CE 16V825. Now, it's not the same thing, but a lot of these chips are similar in their architecture, and the JUDEC code. JUDEC's the code they use to map out all the gates and addresses and everything inside the chip. A lot of the time the JUDEC code is interchangeable between chips. So I'll try programming a PAL 16V8 in place of that 16AS. Right, PAL C 16V8H/4 there. Just programmed it, and the buffer checksum is the same. And it verified to the buffer. Shoo. Let's go see if it works. Right. There's my PAL C chip in there. Oh, mega squeaky bum time. Oh, somebody making toast in the background. Yay! She works. I think that's a success. So, don't quote me on it yet, but I think we can back these chips up. So, there's the original over there. That's gone back into this because I don't want to mess with this. But let's take this custom off of here and see if we're shining you back up will work in here. Right, let's just cut and snip this one. We know it's dead. So I don't know if we can see this in the camera, but that chip got hot. See how it's discoloured? So give this a clean up with some IPA and cotton budge, I think. Yeah, maybe there's coloured underneath it as well. Yeah, we'll clean it up. We'll get a socket on, we'll get our newly programmed PAL CE chip on and see if it revives this. Right. Our backup chip is now in there. And I went and got a copy of the dot matrix ROM. I don't know if it's exactly the right one. It might be a later revision. Let's see. Contact. Actually works. Right. Do it again for good measure. Yeah, working every time. Good. Now, I don't know if it works fully because I've got no reels. Now, it's going to go up back into the machine anyway, but the machine isn't here. So, I don't know if I'll do it as an add-on to this video, or I might do it to a later video, but I'm going to try and come up with something to trick it into thinking it's got reels, even though it's not. Maybe just a push button with some resistors, and maybe something a bit more exotic than that. I've got some options. But for the minute, the original card is working, thanks to our backed up chip. The spare card is working with its original hardware. And yeah, we're all good for the minute. Right, so I'm heading off for a cup of coffee, and if this video gets released without all the bells and whistles going off in this, then fair enough. If I get time tonight, if I come up with something, I'll add it on to the end. But anyways, we have a success. Notice I've marked that in black. It's important you get these the right way around. You want the strobe to come into that line and the busy signal coming back out of that one. Get them the wrong. I don't know if you could maybe do some damage getting them the wrong way around. I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. But I've marked it. I marked it anyway because I've only got the one colour of wire. I've only got a reel of one colour wire, so I could do with multiple reels of wire, but yeah, not got them now. I'll need to get some. Anyways, right, to be continued.